The quickest, the easiest, the most effective way for you to demand an end to U.S. military assistance to Azerbaijan is to call your U.S. representative today. To take action by calling your legislator, asking them to sign the Valadeo letter, which calls for the zeroing out of all military assistance to the Aliyev regime in Azerbaijan. Now, we're blessed to have a community, we're blessed to have coalition partners that write to members of Congress with great frequency, with great urgency. And we have saw in the run-up to April 24th that over 1 million messages were sent through the ANCA system. And that's a very robust response. And we're blessed to have that level of engagement from our community and coalition partners. But we have yet to see that same level of engagement with phone calls. And phone calls bring an added sense of urgency, sort of an increased dynamism to our advocacy campaign. And it's vital that we move from calling, from writing rather, which we should continue to do, to calling and ultimately tweeting, which we'll deal with in another video. So when it comes to calling, in my experience, what I've heard over the years are a number of reservations. Why people perhaps are comfortable writing, but not so comfortable calling. And the reservations fall into 3 general categories. The first is, I don't know how. The second is, I'm a bit nervous. I'm not sure exactly what's involved. And the third is, I'm not sure it makes a difference. Let's just go through each of those quickly. The first, I don't know how. Well, we've made it as simple as possible. If you literally click on the link, anca.org/stopcall, it's the link, that's the title to this video, you'll be connected to a web page which will show you a brief phone script to identify your U.S. representative by name, offer their phone number, but will also dial you back in about 30 seconds, right, with a short automated message saying, please contact, Congressman or Congresswoman Smith and ask them to sign the Valadeo letter to cut U.S. military aid to Azerbaijan. It's a short script. You can just read it, or you can add to it. You can embellish it. You can augment it with your own input, perhaps your own family story, whatever you like. Sometimes they'll ask you for your name and address, things of that sort. But the entire process takes maybe 45 seconds, maybe at the outside 2 minutes if there's a conversation. So how to do this is really easy. You don't have to remember the name of the member because we'll provide that automatically based on your zip code. You don't need to remember the phone script or what to say because the phone script will be provided. You can, obviously improvise. So the phone number, the member of Congress, the message are all prepackaged for you. You don't have to dial. We'll dial you, right? You'll get a brief automated message, and then you'll be connected directly to your member of Congress. So in terms of knowing what to do, it really boils down to clicking one link. Just click on that link, the title to this video, and that's basically, and the job is done. And the rest of it will just sort of, there's a workflow that will flow from that, but it's really just as simple as clicking one link. So if you don't know what to do, or you thought you didn't know what to do, now you do, just click on the link. That's the title to this video. That's number one. Number two, I'm a bit nervous. Now, what people, I think, worry about a phone call because maybe they haven't made a phone call before and they don't know what to expect, and they worry maybe that the worst, they worry about the worst that might happen. And what does that mean? That means that they'll deal with a hostile person on the other end of the line. They'll be asked questions that they can't answer. They'll be put on the spot. They'll be interrogated, things of that sort. Actually, none of that ever happens. Members of Congress purposely hire the most polite people they can find to answer their phones. And they train them to be courteous and responsive, and really just to take down your message in a respectful way, and then to tally the messages and then share them with the staff and ultimately the member of Congress, perhaps at the end of the day or the end of the week. So what they're looking for basically is input. They're not looking to fight. They're not looking to debate. They're not looking to argue. They will not interrogate you. They might ask you, where you live because they want to confirm that you're an actual constituent of the congressional district. They might ask you to spell out your name. Sometimes they, keep track of people who call so they can know what issues matter to them. Maybe they'll match it against the letters that you send. And then if you call about an issue, maybe they'll send out a letter saying, thank you for calling about this issue. Here are our thoughts. So they're very, I would say, conscientious and also courteous, unfailingly polite. So you really don't have a lot to worry about. If you are worried, I can guarantee you that after your first call, you'll be less worried. And going into that call, just break down the pieces of it. Here's what will happen. I'll just walk you through it. The phone will ring. It might go to voicemail. If it's voicemail, just leave a message. That's easy. If it's a person picks up the phone, they'll say, thank you for calling the office of, how can I help you? And you say, well, my name is whatever, share your name. I live in, and then maybe give the town and obviously the state where you live. They might ask your address. Then say, my message for my U.S. representative is, please co-sign the Valadeo letter to cut U.S. military aid to Azerbaijan. You may have to repeat that. Not everyone's going to know how to spell Azerbaijan. Not everyone's going to know exactly what you're talking about. If in a situation where a lot of people have called before you, they'll be familiar with the message. And if you're the first of the people to call on that issue, then the staff might be new to it. But nonetheless, walk through the issue. It really comes down to, please co-sign the Valadeo letter to cut U.S. military aid to Azerbaijan. If you feel like you want to give reasons, say, well, Azerbaijan is seeking to continue the Armenian genocide. Azerbaijan is a corrupt, undemocratic, violent state that is committing acts of aggression against Armenia. You can add to that, but ultimately what they're looking for is your request. And the request, in simple terms, is please sign the Valadeo letter. They'll write that down, and they will get, as I said, they'll tally those and then pass it along up the chain of command. So at the very end, they'll say, thank you for calling. Is there anything else we can help you with? And the phone call ends. There's no interrogation. There's no debate. There's almost, no questions, with the exception perhaps of where you live. It's a very, very friendly encounter that from the outside, for the unexperienced, for someone who hasn't walked through this process, seems unknown and maybe a little scary. I assure you it's not scary. And with every call, you will become more confident. With every call, you will become more assertive. You will be able to press your case because ultimately you're a voter, you're the citizen, you're the constituent, you're frankly the owner of that congressional voice. And that if enough people like yourself weigh in, then that position will prevail in that district. You're not talking to a king or a noble or somebody who has some entitlement to power. You're speaking to someone who answers to you. Doesn't mean you should be rude, doesn't mean you should be impolite, but it does mean that you are a stakeholder. And this is your expectation as a taxpayer, as somebody who contributes to the society, as someone who is a stakeholder in our American democracy. You are, absolutely entitled to voice your opinion, and you should. And the more you do it, the more confident you'll be in doing it. And the more you do it, the more you'll share with others that this is easy. And the more that they do that and the circle grows, I think our voice through this particular channel, the phone call channel, which is very important, will grow stronger and stronger. So that's number two. So number one, don't know what to do? It's easy. Just click on the link. Number two, I'm a bit nervous. Guarantee you, I assure you, Hamparian swears, hand to God, you'll find it super easy. You'll be happy that you overcame whatever resistance that you may have had, any nervousness, any trepidation. You'll be happy that you called. And after you make that first call, I guarantee you, you'll do it again and again because it is a good feeling. At the end of that call, you feel like, I did my part. I was not silent. The phone did not remain silent in that congressional office, and they never heard from me or my family or my friends or my coworkers or colleagues, and that the issues facing the Armenian nation are left unattended because I didn't pick up the phone. I didn't click on that link, right? It's a good feeling. I know that you want to make that call, and that when you make that call, you yourself will be proud of all that you've done. That's number two. Number three is it doesn't make a difference. Now, I guess if you really want to be cynical about it, yes, one call might not make all the difference in the world, but it's not just one call. It's your call in concert with calls from your neighbors and friends and coworkers and colleagues and friends and family. And if we push these calls, if they aggregate, if they the collective power of these calls is really remarkable. So in any given congressional office, they're taking calls all day. They get some calls on education, some on taxes, some on foreign policy, some on domestic policy. But a group like us, Armenians, our community and our coalition partners, are very focused. We're highly networked. We're highly motivated. And if we get on the phone and make those calls, we can move up the list of priorities in that office. So maybe they're getting 12 calls on taxes and 18 calls on education and 30 calls on COVID or something like that. Well, let them also get 25 calls on Armenian issues, right? And what happens then is your call gets aggregated with other calls. Some offices, have the staffers take notes. Others just take a tally. So they'll be like Valadeo letter, and they'll go like, check, one more call. And we want to be the issue right, with the most check marks. We want a lot of check marks after our name. It's not going to be maybe the highest priority for the congressional office, but it's going to become a priority in the congressional office because in aggregate, collectively, our inputs matter. Our inputs matter. And though, as I mentioned, the staffs, every congressional office deals a little bit differently with this, but they all care a lot. They read their mail very carefully, and they monitor their phone calls very carefully. So on any given day, if a lot of calls come in on the Armenian issue, on the Valadeo letter, for example, they'll sit down perhaps at the end of the day, maybe the next morning, and say, okay, what's coming over the transom? What do people care about? What do our constituents, what do our voters care about? And you want the staff assistant, frankly, or the receptionist who's taken all the calls to get out their clipboard and say, well, we got 39 calls yesterday, or 139 calls yesterday in support of the Valadeo letter, and then the staffer might tell the boss, okay, I'll take a look at the Valadeo letter. It's obviously a priority for our constituency. Let's see what we can do about that. And the member will say, okay, well, you take care of that and make sure I do right by my constituents. And now if they got a reason to not sign the letter, okay, we have to address that. We have to work with that. But if they hear from citizens, if they hear from the constituents, that is a major driver for legislators. They might hear from the Turkish embassy, they might hear from the Aussie embassy, or their very high-priced lobbyists, the former legislators who work for these regimes. But that's powerful in any given instance, because these guys are like sort of a Gucci Gulch kind of lobbyists, very high-priced people with $5,000 suits and $3,000 briefcases. But if you put that in the long term against a community, actual citizens, actual constituents who regularly write and regularly call, also tweet, I think that we stand a very strong chance to see our issues, our priorities prevail. So those are the three reservations and my answers to those three reservations. Number one, don't know how to call? Hey, just click on anca.org/stop call. It's literally the link on the title of this video. Some people will say, well, I'm a little bit nervous. Don't be nervous. It is very easy. Break it apart into little pieces, the click, the phone script, the call itself, share your name, address, things of that sort. It all plays itself out over the course of 1 minute, maximum 2 minutes. Harmless, easy, courteous, polite. There's no challenge, no debate, no interrogation. So don't be nervous. It's just very easy. And third, don't believe for a second that your calls don't make a difference. They absolutely do, especially when aggregated with other calls in your district, in your hometown, your home city, and in districts and states across the country. So please do take action today at anca.org/stop call, and do it by calling. If you do make the call today, and I do hope that you do, then encourage others to do so as well, and consider sharing on social media what you've done. And tell people, it was a heck of a lot easier than I thought. I'm glad I called. I look forward to calling again. Thank you very much.